Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Words of Heart podcast. I am your host, Dion Sanchez, and joining me today in this episode is Anthony and Staci Cascio.
Oh, Cascio.
I was so close.
Low Cascio. Boom. That's it.
Thank you for joining me today.
Sure. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. So, Anthony and Staci, I don't know which one of you wants to get the ball rolling here and tell my audience a bit about yourself. Please feel free.
Well, do you want me to do my sum up little
Yeah.
thing? So we're both professional entertainers. Our life has been about entertaining. We've been on television, we've been on radio, we've been on stages all over the world. I was in a show called Tap Dogs. Staci was best friends with some people in Sesame Street Live. And eventually in our careers, we had some health issues going on that were making it hard for us to continue to be performers. Upon taking many years to look into these health issues, we discovered that Western medicine wasn't the solution for us. It was changing our food. And we both had our individual experiences with changing our food and how that tremendously improved the quality of our lives. Now, combining the idea of all those things and the fact that we're dance teachers and see a lot of other people that are struggling with being prescribed the idea of going gluten-free, soy-free, corn-free, and or dairy-free, but not having a guide of how to actually do that, or this really positive mindset, or this knowing about this community, it feels like a struggle when you first learn about that. However, if you have a guide, especially one that puts everything in this, really great feeling, good experience kind of thing, it changes your experience with this idea of fundamentally changing a diet, and then you have a good experience, and then you kind of save your own life. So it's an important message, and we're just out there doing our part to help.
Awesome. And I completely admire you as far as food being a fundamental factor to saving one's life. Just give you a little insight into me, although if you did your little homework, you would know this particular topic I'm about to say to you. But again, it's all good. And besides, I do this part on my podcast all the time. So as far as food saving one's life, I can completely understand that from my own story. At the start of the pandemic, which unfortunately we're about 2 years into it, I got diagnosed with diabetes. So that was a huge drastic health change. And if I hadn't been diagnosed, I could have died. That's just the sad reality of how terrible and bad it was. But in correlation to what you were saying in regards to food, insulin and the right food and the nutrition and dieting and prioritizing my food intake and how much I need to put into my system at a given point through breakfast, lunch, and dinner definitely changed my whole well-being in an instant, because it was the key to keeping me alive and thriving through my diagnosis. So the thing is, before I got diagnosed, my food habits were that of a 5-year-old. It was not great at all. So, and my family, yeah,
That's a lot of people's story. They don't, the food is whatever the food was. They weren't ever taught to know what they were putting in them. And then, isn't it amazing? Something you said got me so excited. It was in an instant. Isn't it amazing that when you figure out that it's
that works for you.
Yeah, that what works for you, and for a lot of people, it's food changes, and the side effect is that you get better, not like all these crazy side effects that you get like from taking medications. It's wild. It's just wild.
Right. And I heard all of what you said, but my video decided to pause as you were doing that awesome moment just now. But I think I grasped what you were saying about everything being an instant, and I really hope my internet stays stable. But yes, everything pretty much changed within that moment. And my family laughs and is so happy because, man, we've been trying to get you to eat these foods for years, and it took you being diagnosed with diabetes to finally get you to change your habits and stuff. And
sometimes you need that little poke,
the universe will keep poking you the same way until you listen to the universe. And I guess the universe wanted you to know what you were putting inside of you.
Absolutely. And I couldn't be more grateful for all the things that have came through this diagnosis, me changing my eating habits, exercising more, simply still being here, because if I hadn't got diagnosed, I wouldn't be talking to you right now, and it wouldn't have led to me launching this podcast and helping others share their stories and try to find value in themselves, either through what they eat or therapy, and just, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Staci, what do you have to say as far as what your husband was describing about food and how it can affect you in regards to that? Oh, did you pause? Uh, okay. Okay, I'm here. I see
It
you.
just it keeps you got a digital sound too. You got the digital filter.
Well, Staci, before my internet decided to interfere with our awesome conversation,
Sure.
I wanted to know your perspective based off of what your husband was indicating about food and how it affects us, and in that respect.
So for me, I think I've always been, or I've always understood that food had an impact on how I felt. But when I was growing up, it was more influence from like my mom and my grandmother, where they would always follow the new trend, right? So when margarine became the thing over butter, they went crazy for it. Well, let's remember that margarine has soy in it, and it's not always great for everyone. And the production of soy in this country is a little controversial, as far as how they produce it and everything like that. So, I feel like I've always kind of looked to food, but I didn't really know how to harness it in the way for myself until I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder. And once that happened to me, I found a rheumatologist who wasn't from this country. And even though she put me on Western medication, one of the first things that she did in conjunction with that was tell me that I should try the blood type diet. So I went and I did that and I researched that, and it was doing okay, but I was still reacting to certain foods and things like that, that even though, it had been researched and all of these foods are okay for this blood type and so on and so forth, there were still things within that were affecting me personally. So a friend of mine that I was doing theater with suggested that I go see this nutritionist who did what was called an EAV screening. And you put a metal node in one hand, and then she touches meridian points on your other hand, while the computer is like highlighting certain foods and different environmental allergens as well. And then at the end, it spits out how many of each macronutrient you should have every day, and then all of the foods, and not just what you can't have, but like where on the range of high to low it affects you. It
Wow.
affects your body. Yeah, exactly. So even a food that could maybe be moderate, maybe you don't want to have, because maybe even you don't want to have those moderate side effects of that food. So it's really more up to you. And a friend of mine happened to look at the data. She's a data analyst. I know, right? And she made the observation that all of the foods that were good for me to have were basically indigenous to my ancestors. And all the foods that weren't good for me to have were from other parts of the world that I didn't have a history with as far as my DNA went. And I never would have looked at the data that way if it hadn't been for her. And so I started saying, oh, I can't have tropical fruits, because it's probably clear by looking at me that my ancestors are from Northern Europe and the Scandinavian areas. So
Not a lot of tropical fruit there.
not so much.
Yeah.
No. There's a little bit, we get, my family history does get down into Italy a little bit, but that's pretty much as far south as we get.
I got
So
Italy covered.
yeah, yeah.
I got Italy covered.
So that basically started my journey. And to couple with you as far as the diabetic thing goes, I definitely have issues with blood sugar. And I believe it's because my pancreas is one of the organs that's affected by my autoimmune disorder. And I have Hashimoto's, which regulates hormones. So I think the insulin receptors are a little bit affected by my autoimmune disorder. So I definitely have that. I have to keep my blood sugar regulated, but I'm not diabetic, quote unquote. So I feel you on that.
Yeah, it's that's first off, that's incredible that you could look so deep within your food history to your family history. I never
Yeah.
heard that be possible until now. So that is really cool. Um, Considering what you guys just shared with me and the fact that this pandemic has been really negative, unfortunately, and affected many of us to the degree where we're really isolated and conducive to our homes, we have to resort to internet and Wi-Fi or cable, but particularly our refrigerators. Our refrigerators has now become our only friend. My internet is not working with me. Um, yes, I'm here and I see you. Before anything went cuckoo, um, I was saying that as a result of the pandemic, everything is pretty much dramatically changed. And now our new friend is our refrigerator. So, if you had to give any advice or insight to those who now became friends with the refrigerators, what advice would you give them as far as how to handle their food intake or balance a diet in that way?
Well, something that happened to me early on when I had to change my diet was I had a lot of food around me that I couldn't eat anymore. And once I realized I couldn't eat it, I saw it as poison, right? Because it was hurting me. So I struggled with what do I do with this food? I don't want to throw it out because I don't throw out food. I was going to give it to my parents, and I realized, well, I'm
If it's poisoning me,
I'm
then
contributing to giving them foods that could potentially be inflammatory to
harmful.
them and
Yeah.
harmful, and then it was okay, I'll bring it somewhere, but a lot of it was open. Like I don't keep everything closed all the time. You open your food that you
Yeah.
and it was there and it was there. And then I finally I threw it out. I threw it out. And once I threw it out and I got rid of everything around me that I couldn't eat, well, first of all, it was a weight off my shoulders because I got over that hill. And second of all, there was nothing around me that could harm me anymore. So if your refrigerator or your cabinet or your counter is your best friend, make sure you only keep your best friends in those spaces. And if that's all you have around you to eat, then that's all you can eat. And what that means is, we'll eat chips, I'll eat potato chips, but I only eat the potato chips that are cooked in an oil that doesn't make me sick. So I can't have soybean oil, I can't have corn oil, I can't have, certain things. I make sure that if I do get potato chips, I get those and I don't eat the whole bag.
Yeah.
Right. I love fruit now. I always loved fruit, but I forgot how much I loved fruit. And so much of it comes in its own package. It's nice to add, if I want to have a steak, grass fed, because you have to also know if you're eating an animal, you need to know what that animal's eating and where it's coming from, right?
Right.
And be respectful. It's just, I lost track where I was. It's just I went so far back into disclaimer, I forgot the line I was on.
Keep the things around you.
But keep the things around you
harm
that
you.
don't harm you. And then if your relationship with food changes, then it's okay for food to be one of your best friends. You know what I mean? Just don't keep bad food around, or food that you're allergic to, or food that could make you sick. But I think that's how you take care of that. Big time.
Well, one of the first things that we help people understand is if they get a test that tells them what foods they can't have, we have them make a list of what they can have. And then that becomes your grocery list. right? So that is a way to implement keeping those things around you that won't harm you.
Awesome. And I truly admire your guys' perspective on this because if I mean obviously I got diagnosed with diabetes during this pandemic, which is a whole myriad of more anxieties that came with it. And yeah, I've been able to survive it with being 2 years into this pandemic. If being diabetic taught me anything, and this pandemic's taught me anything, being diagnosed with diabetes, is the fact that you really don't understand your body as well as you think you do.
Uh-huh.
I certainly learned that more so than ever when I got diagnosed. So, and I made like a whole Facebook status, like people who are taking what's going on lightly and think they're not going to be affected by this virus are absolutely wrong. Um,
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it might not affect you highly, but that doesn't mean you're not at risk. I mean, I'm
Well,
at
if
risk.
you boost your immune system and you know the foods that help your immune system thrive, you have a better shot of combating it
Yes,
earlier on in the virus, and the virus won't take hold like it would if you weren't paying attention
To
to your
your
immune
immune system.
system.
Yeah.
absolutely. You really need to take care of the health and well-being of your body first and foremost, especially now. So, uh, uh, I don't know if you got any of what I just said. My internet just
Yeah, something about you need to take care of your well-being, right?
yes, your health and well-being. Of course, my internet chooses now to act up nonstop. So, but I think we'll get to the icebreaker portion of this episode while my internet is not cuckoo or harming the body of my computer. So, the icebreaker question, again, this is the first I'm asking this with two people, so I don't know how you guys are going to answer it,
All
but
right, we'll work it out.
if you had to come up with a title, or I guess you two had to come up with a title or separate, however you want to answer this question, if you had to come up with a title for where your life is at right now, what would it be?
Intersection, don't you think?
Intersection?
Yeah. We're at an intersection of
That's
entertainment
good.
and dance and food, and where we're going to go with how that's going to impact our future.
Awesome answer, intersection. I love how you
Yeah, that's great. I'm with you. I'm not touching that one. You nailed that. I mean, that all makes sense. I don't need to.
that was well. I this will be the part where I share my title. Again, if you did your homework, you would know, but it's okay.
Yeah. we did some homework. We
I
just
did
did
homework. I
wrong
did the wrong homework.
I
It's not that I didn't do my homework. It's that I had the wrong thing written down. So when I did my homework, I spent all the time doing the wrong homework. I still put the time in.
We read the wrong chapter.
Anyhow, the chapter or title for my life, which isn't that hard to figure out because it's on all of my platforms, is basically being a warrior for change.
Mhm.
God placed the word warrior on my heart when I got diagnosed with diabetes, and that's pretty much been my mantra in my whole life's mission from this point forward, to be a warrior. I shared my diabetes story, but that's only one small part of my whole personal journey. I have I've gone through a lot, pretty much, and
Yeah.
the diabetes wasn't that much of a stretch for me. So being a warrior is really the best representation or symbiotic correlation to who I am and where my life is at right now.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. We constantly talk about being an advocate for yourself, and that we relate to that. Good for you.
Thank you. So on to the favorite part of this episode, the icebreaker game. I feel like you two are going to be good at this because you have each other to lean on, and everyone else always has just one person. So this should be fun. So my icebreaker game, while my internet is respecting the body of my laptop, is that this game is called Song Association. And pretty much how this game works is I give you a word and you have 15 seconds based off of the word I give you to either say it, sing it, rap it. Again, you don't have to be avid singers, but if you want to sing it,
See how this goes.
if you want to sing it, you can. But it could be either be in the song title or in the lyrics based off the word I give you. You can't make up a song. Maybe I'll make up a game in the future where you can make up songs, but for now you can't make up a song. It has to be an actual song. And that's pretty much how the game works. It's only 3 words.
Takes me out.
Yeah, I love it.
It's only 3 words, and it's gonna be fun. You have nothing to be nervous about.
No, I'm not nervous, but I was thinking about rapping. But now you're telling me that this is the way it has to happen, and if it has to happen a certain way, then that's the way we're gonna play. I mean,
he's really good at
how we're
making
gonna
up
do it today.
songs and rhymes on the fly.
It's from being a tap dancer.
Well, I'm a tap
Right,
dancer.
of course. Well, if you want to rap it, you can rap it, but I don't know how you can rap these.
All right, well,
let's see what you got.
Yeah.
What do you got?
We'll feel it out as we go.
All right, so the
icebreaker, here we go.
So the first word is heart.
Heart. You can sing heart. Can we sing heart? Is the idea to sing heart? That feels like a very operatic word to me. Heart. How was that? Was that good?
Did I do that good? Was great.
Did I break the cat?
Playing with the Queen of Hearts. That's what I got. Knowing it ain't really smart. That's what I got.
That's great. I wish I could use the operatic version, but I don't know if that's a song. Is it a song?
It is now.
It is now. Okay. So the next was awesome.
That was only the first one. What do you got for a second one?
The second one is words.
Oh my God. Words. All I can think about is Jason Mraz.
Sing it.
Which one?
Wordplay.
Wordplay. That's what I'm thinking about. There's a song called Wordplay by Jason Mraz, who's one of my favorite all-time artists. Absolutely fantastic. It's all about the wordplay. So there you go.
Okay, I'll give you that one because you did it right when the timer went off. So I'll give you that one. Okay. I know he's an artist, so I'll give you that one. The third one, though, you're gonna have to really bring it home because.
All right, what do you got? 15 seconds. I forgot about the timer. I just thought I had free reign. Go.
Because I changed this third word periodically. First it was mental, but no one can think of a song for mental. Then it was hope, and then no one could think of a song for hope. So now this one, you should definitely be able to master it because I know there's a song with this word in it. So the third word is faith.
Oh my God.
You gotta have faith.
Oh, I gotta have faith. Now you gotta have faith, the faith. I gotta have faith, the faith. Baby! No, I'm not gonna do it.
You can keep singing. You got
That's all I got. I just know something happens next. It's like that, but that's also the end. Yeah, you got choices. You know?
That was great. You're the first people to come up with a song for that word.
Really? And that's I mean, she nailed it.
That's the most obvious one.
Yeah, it's the word that it's the name of the song.
Maybe they're not that old.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to come up with a fourth word because that was great.
Of
Heart.
love. Well, yeah, that's right. She said heart. Love is the answer. I just want song. Life.
Well, we can keep singing songs all day long because
We
I
could. We really could.
but we're at the end of this awesome song and nutrient journey, unfortunately. I'm sure the band journey will continue to live on, as will this podcast episode. But do you have any social media links for my audience before we wrap up here?
Sure.
Yes.
Well, you could go to our website, which is the title of the book. It's www.foodasaprescription.com. And the book's on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and it's
But
an
you
ebook
can
and
link
stuff.
to the book from our website.
But you can link to the
too.
book from the website.
Mhm.
We're on Facebook. We have a Food as a Prescription page. We also are on Instagram
And
at
Twitter.
at Loca Foods Inc. LOCA, like the first four letters of our last name. Loca Foods Inc. Because we have a whole plan of things that we're going to do, and the book falls underneath our plan of things.
Awesome. Thank you again for joining me, Anthony and Staci. This was a wonderful conversation, minus the difficulties, which I'm so sorry about.
We're good.
No, that's okay. That's okay. The internet will do what it wants. Thanks for having us and to help get the message out to the world how food could change your life. And we're really glad you found that way of life too, and that you're healthy now and have a different experience than some people may have by refusing to change their food.
Absolutely. Thank you again. So to all my listeners and audience, thank you for joining us for this latest episode of the Words of Heart podcast. If you would like to listen to this episode or subscribe, retweet, send it to the moon. If you can send it to the moon, that would be awesome. Feel free to let me know. But since you can't send it to the moon, here's the other ways you can send it to other parts of the world. We are on Facebook at the Words of Heart podcast. We are also on YouTube under the same name. And feel free to listen to this podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you listen to your podcast. Again, if you could listen to it on the moon, let me know because that would be awesome.
Might be soon.
Yeah, might be soon. We'll send it up with Elon Musk and SpaceX.
Absolutely. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this episode and feel free to reach out to me on social media as well. I'm Heart Warrior 24 on Twitter and Heart Warrior 25 on Instagram. So once again, I'm your host, Dion Sanchez. Thank you again for joining me, Anthony and Staci. So stay healthy, stay safe. Please prescribe to the right foods for your body because it is important to take care of your body first and foremost. And until next time, bye.
Bye.
We out.